I know I will piss off many girls by saying this, but in India, we have a Khan, Shah Rukh Khan, who was never typically good looking. He doesn't have the classic handsome looks, but look at his career. Are you constantly dissatisfied with your looks? Like struggling with negative body image? Well, I have a lot to say on it, and I guarantee you this will be one of the best videos that you've ever watched on this topic. Because I'll be covering so many points from many different angles, so make sure you watch the whole thing. It will change your mind and life. Let's get right into it. So when you're struggling with negative body image, or you're just dissatisfied with your appearance, your looks, it can be a very difficult experience, obviously. Like you kind of feel inadequate, right? Like I'm not enough. Other people are better because they look better. I mean, sometimes it can go to the point that you are just ashamed or embarrassed of your own looks. Like you don't even want to do certain things. You start to lose confidence and you hyper obsess over certain body parts which you find odd looking or just not in the right shape. And sometimes when the dissatisfaction is too much, people end up taking the wrong steps, like crash diets or something. They can even develop eating disorders. Some people may go too hard in the gym to get quick results, even may start using inappropriate hormones, and in even extreme cases, you may even develop BDD, which is body dysmorphic disorder. Let me read the definition. Body dysmorphic disorder is a relatively common mental health condition in which a person experiences excessive anxiety about a perceived defect in their physical appearance. They may worry about any part of the body, but the face and hair are common areas of concern. So yeah, the problem is real and the problem can be serious. So the question is, how do we fix it? So before I get into the solution, I just want to lay out some facts before you, because I've seen people take really extreme positions when it comes to beauty and beauty standards. People start to think that all of this is just cultural. It is all because of the media or the standards set by fashion industry or the advertisement industry, and they think beauty is simply just a subjective preference. Like people even say there is no such thing as actually good looking person or a bad looking person because it's all just subjective. I mean, I understand that your intention is that any person who has negative body image issue, who's dissatisfied, you want to make them feel good. But I'm never in favor of just going off reality. You should never have to fool yourself to feel good about yourself. So here are some facts. Beauty is a real thing. It's not just a subjective preference. There are really objectively better looking people than others. Face is actually one of the most important parts of the looks, and there have been so many studies which have found out that certain facial qualities are actually preferred by people. Primarily, there are three qualities. First one, symmetry. Like this is bilateral symmetry. Like how similar my left side is to my right side. The higher the symmetry, the more attractiveness. Second one, averageness. Like how average my face is. It sounds counterintuitive, but here average does not mean mediocre. It means like a mathematical average. So basically, researchers have found out that if you take 100 people and do a mathematical average of their faces, and then you come up with a composite face, on average, that composite face is rated as more attractive than all the individual faces. Basically, the averages of the individual faces. So the more average the face, the more attractive it is found by people. Third thing they found out was masculinity in men and femininity in women is found to be more attractive. So if you have more masculine features like a square jaw, long face, it's found more attractive. And if you have more feminine features like a small nose, high cheekbone, a small lower part of the face, that's found to be more attractive. And what's the proof that this is not just the result of culture and it's biological? The proof is that these three things are found to be attractive across the cultures, across the world. Like if it existed only in one culture, we would be able to say, okay, it's because of that culture, but no, it exists universally. And second thing is, which is an interesting one, that these preferences are actually seen even in toddlers, infants. So infants also show some preference towards those more attractive faces, which are more symmetrical, more average. So I agree that unrealistic beauty standards set by the culture can play a role in your negative body image. Like of course it can be a variable, but at the core, it's your biology and your evolution. It's not all cultural manipulation. So since people do show some preferences for attractive faces or just attractive people, not surprisingly, there are some benefits that attractive people enjoy. And this has also been researched very well. According to studies, attractive people are judged more favorably, they are treated better, and they are cut more slack. Teachers favor more attractive students and judge them as smarter. Attractive adults get paid more in their work. Attractive people do better in dating and mating. Juries are less likely to find attractive people guilty, and they recommend lighter punishments when they do find them guilty. And finally, the most shocking one, even mothers give more affection to attractive babies. So far, I'm just making you feel worse, aren't I? But like I said, just to make you feel better, I don't want to disregard reality. We have to confront the reality and then move from there. So the basic idea is is despite all of that, despite beauty being real and some people being better looking than others, you can still have a very healthy and functional relationship with your own looks. And how do you do that? Well, to solve this problem, I will actually resort to one of my fundamental philosophies of life, which I apply in every area and which can be applied in every area of your life too, which is the paradox of acceptance and growth. What I mean by that is, wherever you are, whenever you feel dissatisfied, always start with acceptance. Accept who you are, whatever you're doing, whatever your conditions are, and then see where you can go from there, and then you can think about improvement. This applies in your relationship. Let's say if you have a problem with your partner, first accept them for who they are and then work on it. Applies in parenting. First accept your child and then work on making them better. It even applies if you're running a company. Like, first accept whatever you achieved so far, first be happy with your current conditions, and then work on improving things. And so the same thing applies for body image too. So however you look, you have to accept yourself, and then maybe you can work on even improving your looks. But acceptance comes first. So I'm going to talk about both acceptance and improvement. So this is the big question now. How do you accept your looks? How do you accept your body image? First mental hack is, let's break it down structurally. Like, whenever you want to take something less seriously, you should break it down structurally. Like, for example, if your favorite football team loses and it affects you very deeply and you actually start to get angry and frustrated, the way you can get back to normalcy or happiness is if you break it down structurally, which is, what exactly is this football team? First of all, this football club or this team is a fictitious thing. Like, it's not something real, it's just on papers. Plus, even the players and the people, they just keep coming and going. It's not like a real static thing. And what's even football? They just take a piece of rubber ball and they're just running around after it, and just 12 people are trying to kick it in different directions and put it into some goalpost, which is again so random, and they just do it for 90 minutes and they go home. Like, what is this? Like, why am I taking all of this so seriously? So the moment you break it down like that, you see it structurally, you kind of see through it and you don't get affected by it so much. You can kind of rise above it. The same with looks. What really are your looks? Looks are simply your skeleton, which is just topped with some muscles and then some skin. So all your looks comes down to just this arrangement of bones in your skeleton. And this arrangement is all just so random. Like, if your jaw was slightly differently arranged, like if your bone was slightly bigger here, I mean, you would just be one of the best looking persons. But now that the bone was slightly smaller, oh, you're not so attractive anymore. And think about it. This arrangement of bones is obviously gonna be very different for each person. Like, it's obviously gonna be unique because you're getting it from your two parents and they got it from their parents. So it's been passed down through generations and there is a lot of randomness to it also. So it can never be equal. Some girl will have a higher cheekbone than the other one, and both of them got it randomly, and just this one person, since they got a higher cheekbone, now they look more attractive. So it's just a matter of pure luck and bad luck, because turns out our human eyes, our brain prefers that higher cheekbone. Well, next time you look at Brad Pitt and you feel like idolizing him, just remind yourself, oh, he's just like a different arrangement of bones. And once you can imagine someone's skeleton, it does take the shine away, doesn't it? And technically, have you ever looked at skulls? Like, that's what we ultimately reduce to. You can take two skulls and you really would not be able to tell which was more good looking. This perspective may seem really dark to some people, but it's real and it works. You probably didn't think I would start my first point with you imagining skeletons, but yeah, I'm here to surprise. But yeah, as a general rule, whenever you want to reduce something in importance or not take something too seriously, just try to break it down structurally. You would be able to see through it. Second big thing is, in acceptance, is you have to reduce the importance of looks. I did tell you many benefits in the beginning, right? But the other side is that those benefits are actually very limited in nature. In your overall life, looks actually play a very marginal role, not a central role. And that's what people who are obsessed with looks don't understand. For them, they think that if they become good looking, or if they were better looking, the world would be completely different for them. Like, they would have much better, richer, sexier, more fun lives. But that's simply not true. So as I keep saying in many videos, like, what are the top 5 goals for a good life, which you should care about, which really are important? Health, mental health, relationships, career, and then your rest and relaxation. Like, if you're doing well in those 5 areas, your life is good. Now let's see how much your good looks can help you in those 5 areas. Let's go one by one. First one, health. Now obviously, to become healthy, you just need a good diet, good exercise, good sleep, and just overall a good lifestyle. You don't need good looks. Second, same for mental health. Mental health is primarily what are your beliefs and what are your behaviors. To have better beliefs and behaviors, again, you don't need good looks. To have recreation and relaxation, you definitely don't need looks. I mean, to take a nap, to go on a beach, to go travel, to listen to music, to watch a movie, you don't need good looks. You can have all the fun in life without really looking good. Then next one, career. Yes, like I said in the researches, in some areas, you are judged to be more competent if you are better better looking. And maybe people may sometimes prefer you in hiring. But like I said, those benefits are only on the margins. In the long run, what will really matter would be your knowledge, skills, and your attitude. If you're a good person, if you're a talented person, you will succeed. You do not have to be good looking. And if you're a good looking person who's not talented and who's not a nice person, your jig will be up very quickly. Like people can sense that very quickly. Like a month into working, people will realize that, oh, this is just a shiny cover. There's nothing inside. This is a hollow person. So again, your career success simply isn't dependent on your looks. And you can take any domain of life. You can take businessmen, you can take sports people. Sports people in general look better because they are fitter, but doesn't mean that they have the typical good looks like a good face. You can even take actors. People who are in show business, all of them are not so good looking. I know I will piss off many girls by saying this, but in India, we have a Khan, Shah Rukh Khan, who was never typically good looking. He doesn't have the classic handsome looks, but look at his career. So yeah, you can be at the top of a field, you don't need good looks. And finally, relationships and your social life. Now, like compared to those other areas, good looks matter the most in this area, but still doesn't matter all that much. Let's see. First, let's talk a bit about dating and mating. So there's no doubt, as you begin, your looks actually give you some advantage when you meet people, right? Of course, if you're attractive, more people will approach you, and if you approach people, they will respond more kindly. But the question is, what is your goal with your life? To just keep dating people, just keep meeting people, or actually develop great relationships? Because again, if your goal is to actually find a great partner for life, if you want to develop deep loving relationships, again, good looks don't matter there. And in the whole process, they are only mattering at the margins, which is in the selection part, in the dating part. And even in the selection part, what is attractiveness getting you? What it's really getting you is just a bigger selection pool. Like if you're a 10, like if you're the most good looking person on earth, you will simply have like a bigger pool to select from at the first stage. As you go down in your rating, as you are like at 9 or 8 or 7 in looks or 6 or 5, your pool becomes smaller and smaller. And basically this shrinking of that selection pool, it probably happens at a slower rate for men, because typically women don't care as much about looks as men do. But in both cases, of course, looks matter, just in different degrees. And as people become better and better looking, their pool, their selection pool gets bigger and bigger. But that's just about it. After that, your happiness from that relationship is dependent on very different things. That will be dependent on your personality traits, your capabilities, your match with that other person. And good looks won't automatically give you the right relationship skills. So the advantage of looks is actually pretty limited. If good looks gave you amazing, perfect relationships, celebrities should have the best relationships in the entire world, wouldn't they? Let me name 4 celebrities: Beyonce, Shakira, Robert Pattinson, Jennifer Lopez. What's common among them? All of them are super good looking, and all of them got cheated on. I mean, these are some of the best looking people on planet, yet their partners cheated on them. So clearly, looks didn't get them everything. If their looks could just give them the best relationship, their relationships wouldn't be devastated like that. And whatever that advantage, that being able to select from a larger pool, is not that big of an advantage also, because technically it's not like there is a buffet out there that every day you can go and try new partners and then select one from them. No matter how good looking you are, you actually don't get many chances to develop very deep, serious relationships with people. Like whoever you pick, you're kind of stuck with them for a really long time before you fully realize the potential of that relationship. And by that time, a lot of time is gone. It's not like a person who's super good looking gets to actually have 50 different relationships and pick the best one. Nobody in their life can have serious 50 relationships. It's just impossible. Just because millions of girls want to go on a date with Hrithik Roshan does not mean he actually can do that. And no matter what your looks are, you will find a partner if you want to. Like there's pretty much somebody for everybody. Average looking people, below average looking people also find people to date and mate and even marry. In fact, all of us have seen couples where both of them are good looking, one of them is good looking, or both of them are not so good looking. There are all kinds of couples in this world. And it's pretty similar with friendships also. Like even while making friends, yes, if you're better looking, then more people will try to associate with you. That's just the reality of the world. But again, if you really want to enjoy deep, great, fun friendships, it will depend on your social skills, your character traits, and again, your match with that person. Think of your past. Who have been your best friends in life, and how many of them were really good looking? So people who are too obsessed with looks, they also sometimes try to pick other people who are good looking, because for them, higher looks means higher value. So I'm telling you, if that's the reason you are picking people for friendships, that's simply a bad reason, because in the long run, if you really want to enjoy friendships, look at something deeper, which is social skills, their character, and your match with them. So what you can understand from this is that good looking people in general are simply not having a better experience of life. They're not living on some higher plane. Look around you, you will have many examples of people, good looking people, who are not functional, who are really rude, who are mean, who have terrible careers, who nobody wants to talk to, etc. Like, I want you to think about 10 really good looking people around you and actually look at their life in depth. Do you think their lives are really awesome? Do you think their lives are way better than yours overall? Are they in heaven or something? If you think about it, you'll realize very quickly, not at all. So if good looking people around you and in the world are struggling, how will you be any different if you were better looking? People who are better looking are just very, very, very ordinary people with their own unique strengths and weaknesses. I have met really good looking people who were utterly boring to talk to. What do I do with their looks? If you find a wife who's super good looking but very emotionally volatile, what will you do with her after 6 months? Like, first 6 months you were really attracted to her, it was the honeymoon phase and there was so much chemistry, but after 6 months you have to deal with the person. You would spend so much time trying to calm her down, you would not be able to care about her good looks anymore. Another point here is that better looks, looking better and better and better, is a status based game. So we can distinguish life games in two major categories, right? Status based games and well-being or happiness based games. So in status based games, my gain is your loss, but in happiness or well-being based games, we both can win at the same time. So why is becoming better looking a status based game? Because when someone becomes really better looking, they actually make other people slightly ugly by comparison. Because think about it, the concept of beauty only exists because there is ugliness. Without ugly, beauty cannot exist. So that happens in a class. Everybody has felt it, right? In a class, there is usually this one best looking person, but then a new year comes and there is a new admission and the new guy or the new girl, they are better looking than everybody else. So suddenly that person who was in top position is now in second. This is a zero sum game. Somebody gains a position, then somebody has to lose a position too. Now that person in second is still good looking, but slightly lower than the first one. And that's exactly how status games are. So my general philosophy in life is to not play too many status based games, because these status games can drive you crazy because you are in constant competition. You simply will not be able to relax. Wherever you are, you're trying to outdo someone. You're trying to be better. Like, you spend 2 hours getting ready for a party, but then you go there and then someone you don't like as much or someone in your group who you are competitive with, they actually dress better than you. You were happy initially, but as soon as you saw them, now you're like, oh, I wish I dressed even better. Like, that person took away all the compliments. Like, they stole my thunder. So instead of enjoying the party, now you're worrying about how somebody outdid you. Instead, I urge you to play well-being or happiness-based games where you can be healthy and happy right now in this moment. Doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. Doesn't matter if rest of the people are better looking or worse looking. You're just comfortable in your own skin. You're just happy with yourself. And one last thing here is that don't think that you'll ever be satisfied. There's enough data now that even models who are supposed to be some of the best looking people in society, even they are very, very dissatisfied with their own looks. Their nose, their chin, their arms, their height, their fats, something. Like, they are already at level 9 or 10, but they are still very dissatisfied. So if you are imagining that by raising my looks to another 2 or 3 levels, I'll be happy, no, you won't be. There will always be something to improve in your looks and you'll forever be dissatisfied. So that's why don't play that game. Be satisfied wherever you are. So conclusion here is, accept your looks completely, care less about looks in others, and associate with people who also care less about your looks. You will find those people, because if you surround yourself with look obsessed people, of course it's going to be contagious. So cultivate an environment where looks are just like a side thing, a marginal thing, not the central thing. Which brings us to the second section. This is going to be a smaller one. This is improvement and growth. Now that we have made looks like a marginal thing in life, but it is still something, it's still not zero. Like, its importance is still not zero. So now we have to talk about how we can still improve our looks in a reasonable manner. So there I would say you should make 80 to 90% of your efforts simply on your health. As you become fitter, you do become better looking, and that's the best win-win in life. It's like most men in their 20s don't really go to gym because they are health conscious. They just want to be better looking. Health is just a side benefit for them. So become as fit as you reasonably can. Good looks will be a good byproduct. And then of course, if you want to do even more, you can do it through grooming, like accessories, your fashion, the clothes you wear, and some people even go so far as to do some medical procedures also. Now in general, I'm not too keen on that because again, you're placing too much value on looks. But yeah, if some medical procedure really makes too much of a difference and you can afford the cost and it's not really harming your body, then okay, why not? But yeah, mainly focus on your fitness and your health. And please avoid unhealthy things like extreme crash diets where you just stop eating, or just going too hard in the gym, or playing with steroids without much knowledge, etc. So let me bring it all together. Overall, accept whoever whoever you are, however you look first. Remember that your looks are completely out of your control. Again, the majority part, the bone structure, your skeleton. And whoever you are, life is still good. You can pretty much live an amazing life without depending on looks. You can be physically healthy, mentally healthy, have a great career, have a great partner, have a lot of fun and relaxation without depending on looks. But since looks do matter to some degree and you feel like looking as good as you reasonably can, then you should focus on health and fitness. You should try to become a better version of yourself. Why not? But remember the core difference in those two approaches. The first one is, I'm unhappy with my looks, I'm very dissatisfied, that's why I want to improve. The other approach is, I actually accept my looks, I am completely okay with it. Even if I don't change, that's fine, but I am living a life, there is something that I have to do, so let me just work on it. Both of those approaches are very different. Basically, your starting point must not be dissatisfaction. It must be, well, we have to do something, let's do this too. So today's video was for your internal self. There is actually going to be a part 2 of this video. In part 2, I'm going to talk about how to actually deal with negative comments from others about your looks, when people mock you, ridicule you, or sometimes judge you, and how you can be just comfortable in your own skin no matter who you are with. I'll release part 2 if this video reaches 10,000 views or 1 month later, whichever comes quicker. So if you want part 2 quicker, just share this with everyone you know. Let's get this to 10,000 views. And yeah, please do subscribe to my channel. Thanks for listening. Sridhar Life School is a team of psychologists who specialize in counseling. If you're going through very difficult times or you want to achieve higher well-being, we offer one-on-one counseling for individuals, couples, parents, and their children. To book sessions, go to our website sridharlifeschool.com.